Have you ever wondered what cybersecurity is? Well, it's a fascinating and critical aspect of our digital world. Cybersecurity, in its simplest form, is the practice of protecting our digital devices, systems, and networks from threats and attacks launched in the cyber realm. This includes your personal laptops, smartphones, and even the systems that run critical infrastructure like power grids and hospitals. Why is it important, you ask? Well, imagine waking up one day to find out that your bank account has been drained or your personal photos are floating around the internet. Scary, isn't it? That's the potential danger we face without proper cybersecurity. In today's interconnected world, cyber threats are not just about rogue hackers in hoodies, but also organized criminal networks and even state-sponsored actors. Now that we have a basic understanding of cybersecurity, let's dive into the top 10 cybersecurity attacks. Trust me, it's a journey worth taking to safeguard our digital lives. Number 1 on our list is phishing. This is the crafty technique where cybercriminals trick you into sharing sensitive information, such as passwords or credit card numbers. They do this by pretending to be a legitimate entity, like your bank or internet service provider. It's a common tactic, accounting for a staggering 91% of all cyber attacks. Let's dive into a couple of practical examples. Ever received an email from your bank urgently asking you to update your account details? That's a classic phishing attempt. Or perhaps you've gotten a text message from a friend sending you a suspicious link. That's phishing too. These attempts often prey on our fears and urgency, trying to rush us into making a mistake. It's crucial to remember, legitimate organizations will never ask for sensitive information via email or text. Always be cautious of unsolicited emails, especially those asking for personal information. Next up, we have malware. Malware, short for malicious software, is a broad term that encompasses any software intentionally designed to cause damage to a computer, server, client, or computer network. It's an umbrella term that includes viruses, worms, trojans, and ransomware. It's estimated that about 1/3 of all cyber attacks involve malware. Let's talk about 2 real-world examples. Remember the WannaCry ransomware attack back in 2017? It affected hundreds of thousands of computers across 150 countries, causing billions of dollars in damages. It exploited a vulnerability in Microsoft's Windows operating system and encrypted users' files, demanding a ransom to unlock them. Another infamous malware attack was Stuxnet. Discovered in 2010, it was designed to sabotage Iran's nuclear program. It specifically targeted industrial control systems used in infrastructure facilities, causing substantial damage to Iran's nuclear centrifuges. Malware attacks can be devastating, so remember, always think twice before clicking on unknown links. At number 3, we have man-in-the-middle attacks. Imagine you're talking to a friend over the phone, but unbeknownst to you, there's a third person on the line listening in. That's essentially what a man-in-the-middle, or MITM attack is, but in a digital context. Your data, while en route to its destination, is intercepted by a nefarious party who can then eavesdrop, manipulate, or steal your information. According to studies, MITM attacks account for roughly 35% of cyber attacks. Let's illustrate with a couple of practical examples. Imagine you're making a bank transfer online. A MITM attacker could potentially intercept this transaction, alter the recipient account details, and reroute your money to their account. Or let's say you're logging into your email on a public Wi-Fi network. An attacker could capture your login credentials and gain unauthorized access to your account. The lesson here? Always verify the security of your internet connection, especially when transmitting sensitive information. 4th on our list is denial of service, or DOS attacks. This type of cyber attack is a digital equivalent of a traffic jam. The attacker floods a network or server with traffic until it can't handle the load and either slows down significantly or crashes entirely. While the percentage of DOS attacks may seem small at around 5% of all cyber attacks, their impact can be massive. Imagine a large online retailer being unable to process transactions on a busy shopping day. That's a practical example of a DOS attack. Here's another example. A major news outlet's website is overwhelmed by a flood of requests, making the site inaccessible to legitimate users. This kind of attack can cause significant damage to a company's reputation and bottom line, so what can you do about it? Always be aware of the performance of your digital systems. A sudden drop in speed or a complete halt could indicate a DOS attack. It's always better to be safe than sorry. Halfway through our list, we find SQL Injection. This is a type of cyber attack where malicious SQL code is inserted into a query. The intention? To disrupt the database and gain unauthorized access to data. SQL injection is the culprit in around 7% of all cyber attacks. Let's dive into a couple of practical examples. Imagine a simple login form on a website. An attacker could input SQL statements into the username or password fields, tricking the system into revealing sensitive information. Or consider a search box. An attacker might inject harmful SQL code into the search query, potentially causing havoc in the database. The impact can be severe, ranging from data theft to total system compromise, so it's critical to be vigilant. Always be cautious when inputting information into websites, especially those that seem suspicious. Coming in at number 6 is the zero-day exploit. This is a cyber attack that takes advantage of a security vulnerability on the very same day it becomes known, hence the term zero-day. The attackers strike before the software developers have a chance to create a patch to fix the vulnerability, leaving systems at risk. Zero-day exploits make up a small but significant percentage of cyber attacks. They're less common than others, but due to their nature, they can be devastating when they do occur. Let's put this into perspective with a couple of examples. In the Stuxnet case, a zero-day exploit was used to sabotage Iran's nuclear program. The exploit targeted specific industrial systems and caused substantial physical damage. In another instance, the WannaCry ransomware attack, a zero-day exploit in Microsoft's Windows operating system, was used to infect hundreds of thousands of computers worldwide, encrypting data and demanding ransom payments. Keeping your software updated is key to protecting against zero-day exploits. 7th on our list is DNS tunneling. This is a sneaky technique used by cybercriminals to bypass network security controls by embedding malicious data or codes within DNS requests and responses. It's a way of smuggling information in and out of a network, flying under the radar of most security systems. While DNS tunneling is not as prevalent as phishing or malware, it still accounts for a significant slice of overall cyber attacks, roughly around 5%. Imagine a corporate network where all internet traffic is strictly monitored. A rogue employee decides to leak sensitive data. He uses DNS tunneling to send this information out disguised as harmless DNS queries. Or consider a scenario where a cybercriminal is looking to establish a backdoor into a secure network. They could use DNS tunneling to bypass the firewall and maintain a covert communication channel. Always ensure your network security is robust to prevent DNS tunneling. Number 8 is cross-site scripting, often abbreviated as XSS. This is a type of security vulnerability typically found in web applications. XSS attacks enable hackers to inject client-side scripts into web pages viewed by other users. These scripts can be used to steal information, deface websites, or even deliver malware. In terms of overall usage, XSS attacks account for around 7% of all cybersecurity attacks. Let's look at a couple of practical examples. First, consider a scenario where an attacker injects a script into a forum post. When other users view this post, the script runs and sends their session cookies to the attacker. Now the attacker can use these cookies to impersonate the victims. In another example, an attacker might use XSS to inject a script into a shopping site. This script could then modify the site's content, tricking users into providing their credit card information. Always be wary of the websites you visit to avoid falling victim to cross-site scripting. Nearing the end of our list at number 9 is credential reuse. This is a common and simple attack where cybercriminals use the same username and password combinations across multiple services. It's a widespread issue, accounting for around 22% of all cybersecurity attacks. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. Imagine you sign up to a new online service using the same email and password you use for your email account. If this new service suffers a data breach, your email and password could end up in the hands of hackers. They can then use these credentials to access your email account. Or consider another scenario. You use the same password for your social media and online banking. A phishing scam tricks you into revealing your social media password. The hacker then tries this password on various banking sites and bingo, they're in your bank account. Always use unique and strong passwords for each of your accounts to prevent credential reuse. Last but not least, at number 10, we have drive-by downloads. These are the sneaky cyber attacks that can occur without a single click. Simply visiting or passing by a compromised website can be enough for your device to download malicious software. Surprisingly, drive-by downloads account for a significant 13% of all cybersecurity attacks. So, how does this work? Well, let's say you're browsing the internet and you land on a website that looks totally harmless. Unbeknownst to you, this website has been infected with malicious code. As you're reading a blog post or checking out the latest news, the code quietly downloads malware onto your device. Another example could be a pop-up ad. You're on your favorite social media site when an ad pops up. It seems harmless, maybe even interesting, but as soon as it loads, it secretly downloads a virus onto your device. Always be cautious when downloading files from the internet to avoid drive-by downloads. Now that we've discussed the top 10 cybersecurity attacks, how can we prevent them? First, remember that a whopping 91% of all attacks begin with phishing. Be wary of unsolicited emails or messages and always double-check sender details. For malware, the key is to use reliable antivirus software and avoid downloading files from untrusted sources. Man-in-the-middle attacks can be prevented by using secure networks and ensuring websites are encrypted. Denial of service attacks are trickier, but maintaining updated and patched systems helps. SQL injections and cross-site scripting can be mitigated by being careful with the information you enter into websites. For zero-day exploits, DNS tunneling, credential reuse, and drive-by downloads, consistent system updates and using unique, strong passwords can make a significant difference. In summary, the world of cybersecurity may seem daunting, but with a little knowledge and vigilance, you can protect yourself. Stay vigilant, keep informed, and remember that your first line of defense in cybersecurity is you.